hello, and good football to us all. I am your host, Ryan. With me are the family Donnelly, AJ, our stats guru, and his father, who we will affectionately refer to as Dad in this episode. And as always, our resident Patriots hater and Raiders fan, that would be Jeffrey. Unfortunately, Colt, our fantasy guru, cannot be here this evening. Thanksgiving week is rough on his particular industry, which is secondary, as always, of course, to his fantasy football genius. But on this podcast, we talk football and only football, so help us God. We're going to need a lot of help this week. Welcome to week 12. This episode is our Thanksgiving episode, where we talk about why we're thankful for the great game of football. We'll get to that in just a second. First, we have to talk a little bit about week 11. We always start our discussion about last week with this. What the hell happened in the NFL in week 11? There were a lot of things that made you scratch your head. Jeff, can you point to just one?
I can point to just one. What the hell happened to the Minnesota Vikings losing to the Dallas Cowboys? I don't think anybody expected Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings to lose to such a garbage team in Dallas.
You got the Red Rocket back. Andy Dalton out there throwing darts coming off concussion protocol. That is one that was a shocker.
Ryan, isn't that the Red Rifle?
Aren't rockets bigger?
Hard to say.
Can be.
Texas Christian Horned Frog Andy Dalton rolling around down there in his home turf in Dallas. Mr. Donnelly, Dad, did you have a biggest surprise? What the hell happened in week 11?
I did. You got this guy from the XFL that came in, threw some footballs around and won a game.
Yeah.
So down the Carolina Panthers with B.J. Walker. So, P.J. did some representing in the game that probably no one wanted to see or have played. Nonetheless was. And, he posted 20 points on the board for those guys and got a W while the Teddy was down and not able to play. So I think it worked out pretty good for PJ and PJ Walker and the gang. I do not think it will bring back the XFL, though.
Unfortunately, the XFL may be dead forever, but PJ Walker lives on. Former Temple Owl. Do you think his time at Temple, I think he may have overlapped with Matt Rule just a little bit in Temple, didn't he?
I think he did.
That's why Matt Rule brought him in. That's a great pickup for the Panthers. Always has been a great athlete, PJ Walker. He was electric when he was wandering the streets of Philadelphia as an owl. AJ, what the hell happened?
It's policy not to say anything nice about the Jets, but let's say something nice about the Jets. They're still 0-10. But they tried to win a football game. They did their best. They had 8 tackles for loss and 3 sacks in this game. Flacco was 50% on the night and threw a pick six. Just doing great.
It's one of the best pick sixes you've ever seen thrown.
Yeah. Yeah, it was at least up there. Well, we know he did his best.
It was a Super Bowl caliber pick six. Yeah, the Jets actually did look competent.
So at halftime it was 24-6. So take that for what it's worth. But they made it a game. At the very least,
are we still of the mindset as a collective group here that the Jets are going to get them one?
They're about 14. I think they're about 14 COVID cases away from that opportunity.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they may fall into a COVID-related, COVID-affected situation where they may get them one.
Well, I'm thinking, I'm not so sure it has to be the team they're playing or their own team, by the way.
Fair point. They could probably pull a couple of guys from the stockroom at Target and do a better job. My what the hell happened of the week happens to be the Monday night game, which I got a chance to watch about 3/4 of. The Rams looked really good, gentlemen. Coming over from the West Coast, making the trip. They haven't historically this season made that trip successfully, very, very much. And they came over and they took it to the Bucs all night long. I mean, they just made Tom Brady look old. And that is something. He threw a pick that was basically a punt that was to no one.
Yeah, a short
there was
punt.
no one. Yeah. It was a high school punt. Basically to nobody out there. Goodness.
Do you think
gracious.
at his age he's become colorblind?
Like a
Did
dog?
he get the Jameis Winston? Did he go to Tampa and get the Jameis Winston can't see anymore?
Oh,
The special?
Ooh.
the curse.
Yeah, the J-Boo special. You go to you go to Tampa Bay. Your mom and dad always tell you growing up, stop doing that. You're going to go blind. No, you just go to Tampa. That's where you go blind.
Yeah. The shortest book in the world is the one that's titled Tampa Bay Buccaneers Best Quarterbacks.
That's
Yeah,
a
buddy,
short.
you're right
that's
about
a
that.
short list.
That
Very
is a short. Who's even leading that list? Is it
Brad
Brady by
Johnson.
default? I was going to say Brad Johnson.
Well,
The only
Steve
one that
Young
won a
didn't spend
Super
enough
Bowl.
time down there, did he?
Did he play for Tampa?
Well, he was drafted by Tampa.
Oh, that's right. Did he play in the creamsicle oranges?
I don't know that he did because he went to the other. What was that? The General Football League, or what was the one in the '80s that came
That
out?
was that was the Donald Trump league, right?
Yeah, it was with Trump. Yeah, exactly.
That didn't last very long.
Donald still thinks that's going on too.
He's confused. He's a very confused man.
We're gonna play the best football. It's only the best football.
Yes, the best
You can
football
buy
you've ever seen.
You can buy it on Sharper Image.
Tremendous football. This league is going to be huge. I have another one actually that kind of rattled around my brain a little bit this weekend, and I really thought the Packers were going to go into Lucas Oil Stadium and beat the Colts, and they didn't.
Tommy picked them.
They just didn't do that.
We are.
And
Jeff.
I'm invested by in the Colts emotionally and somewhat spiritually, and I thought the Packers were going to win. Anything else stand out to you guys in the what the hell happened this week category?
Jeff, your Raiders almost beat the Chiefs
Again.
Yeah, but we let Mahomes walk down the field in 15 seconds and win basically.
Yeah, you and the rest of the league.
I was watching that game and I made a comment to a guy I was watching it with and said, watch this. They're gonna hit Travis Kelce all the way down the field and they're gonna win. It's just that's what's about to happen.
I'd like to toss out the beatdown, or at least the loss that the Dolphins took.
That was ugly.
Denver Broncos.
Oh yeah,
That was ugly.
good one.
First to 20.
So, Dad, you don't know our podcast stance on Broncos starting quarterback Drew Lock, do you?
No, I've listened to you guys quite a bit, but I've missed that one. So fill me in.
Yeah, we have just determined. You heard it here first. Breaking news, urgent story. Drew Lock has a stupid face.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid. So stupid.
So would we determine that bad luck?
Yeah, he's a twerp.
Yeah.
No, he looks like a twerp.
In Colt's words, he looks like a twerp, which is one of the worst ways to look. And I describe stupid faces as inherently punchable.
Oh,
He has an inherently punchable face.
that's a picture. That's a word picture I can work with.
Yes. I thought that might resonate just a little bit with you, but that is a great question. What happened in the Mile High City to the Dolphins? Do you blame it on the thin air?
Well, marijuana is available recreationally out there.
They were high both on elevation and the weed.
There's a chance.
Let me throw this at you. The Broncos had 459 total yards, and the Dolphins went ahead, cut that in half, and called that enough offense to try to win a game.
That is not exactly a great recipe.
Well, they had to sit Tua at the end of the game too, which is not the best vote of confidence.
When you're 11 of 20 for 83 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Fitzpatrick wasn't much better. He only threw for 117 yards and had a pick. Both of their QBRs were sub 35.
And I think the challenge is that he needs more beard to play well in the NFL.
I agree. He trimmed it. Fitzpatrick trimmed the beard, and that's where all the magic went.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I that is one lesson that I'm not sure Tua is mature enough, both as a football player and a man.
Yeah, he didn't go to
that-
Hogwarts neither.
By the way, the last picture I saw of Fitzpatrick, when he strapped the chin strap on, I don't think he found his chin.
It's just
Is
all
that-
beard cushion.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that safety approved? Is that NFL approved?
I feel like it would be beneficial.
Yeah, why would you need a chin strap with all that hair?
Very, very good point. You just
Yeah, but
go
you're
all
supposed to
Brett
keep
Favre and just run around unstrapped.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's the only way to run around, really.
Unstrapped, yes.
Hey, so in that game, Tua was sacked 6 times for 33 yards. That means the Broncos had 6 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. Chubb had one, Jones had one, Reed had one, Walker had one, Williams had 2, and went ahead and tossed 2 tackles for loss on top of that. That's another baffling aspect of them being 6-4 in the first place. That line is not very good.
It's not great, but I think it's also a testament as to how good that Broncos defense can be when they're playing well. We've said it all season. Their defense is good, but Drew Lock's stupid face has held them back to only 4 wins.
Agreed.
Stupid face.
Yeah, that's this whole week has been kind of a what the hell happened, and I kind of want to forget about it and not talk about our records from our picks last week, but I'm not sure that's going to be in the cards.
Nope.
Well, unfortunately, we'll get to that in a minute. But first, we're going to get to our Green Bean Casserole Award. Objectively, the MVP of every Thanksgiving table. Who is our MVP of the week? I'm going to start with Jeff.
Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans.
Great pick. Great pick.
Came in overtime and got him the touchdown to win the game.
Is that not the second time he's done that this season?
It is. It is.
Fairly certain he walked off another game with a big hitter. And he finished with 30 something yards, 28 carries. Yeah, 133, 28 carries and that 1 touchdown in overtime. Dad, who was your MVP of the week?
I got to give it to Jared Goff. He really brought it this week. He's quite a Jekyll and Hyde, and I'm not sure which is the better of the 2 guys, but whatever the one that is, that was the one that came to play that game. I don't know if you could stand the roller coaster ride of his stats and over this year, but this one was good coming in, and they needed to. They could have quickly gone to 6-4 and become pretty irrelevant, and they didn't, flying across country and taking on the Buccaneers, who still it was a loss. They're 7-4, so that was a big win for them.
It absolutely was a huge win for them. He did have a couple Mr. Hyde moments in that game with that interception to Jason Pierre-Paul and his 3-fingered hand out there picking him off.
Yeah, well, he didn't want to show up number 12 as much as he could have, so he had to toss a couple bad ones to make him feel even.
I love that. I love that logic. Dad, I have a saying that I've kind of proliferated throughout the course of this season. It is Jared Goff is one of those prove it to me guys, that he has to prove it to me that he can do what he's doing like he did on Monday consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And he just still hasn't quite reached that threshold of being a proven guy yet.
I think he probably played better 2 years ago than he's playing right now, as far as consistency is concerned. So yeah, I agree with you. He's got to find his groove and stay in it.
Yes, absolutely. AJ, your green bean casserole pick of the week.
Hey, Ryan, you ready for a deep dive, my friend? You fellas ready
Buddy,
for this? Let's
I love it when
go.
you go deep.
Happy TG. Cam Jordan, 4 tackles, all solo, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and the Saints D held the Falcons to 9 points.
Buddy, I love when you pick defensive players for this award.
Defensive players love being green bean casserole.
Hasn't everybody held the Falcons to 9 points?
The Falcons' offense has actually been pretty decent. Their defense has been a fiery pile of refuse.
Mm-hmm.
But you are correct.
Is that
Cam Jordan.
Is that the no? Sorry for interrupting. Was that the no swear policy right there?
Absolutely not. I just wanted to use the word refuse correctly in a sentence and see what you thought about it.
Is that the word of the day?
Not yet. We're not there yet. We might find a better one. We'll figure it out here as we go along. I'm going to stick with the Rams for my green bean casserole because when this guy is healthy, boy, is he a weapon. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is one of the main reasons Jared Goff had the game he had. I know Robert Woods had a big game, but Cooper Kupp came up with huge third down reception after huge third down reception, broke tackles when you didn't expect him to break tackles. He had 10 catches in the first half. It was unbelievable what he was able to do throughout the course of that entire game. He ended up with 145 yards. My fantasy team could have used a couple extra touchdowns thrown in there from Mr. Kupp, but he is the driving force in that offense. When he's healthy and playing great, that Rams offense is really, really tough to stop, especially when they take a little page out of the Saints playbook and hit you with a little 5-yard outs here and 5-yard outs there and then take a shot deep. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I'm going to go Cooper Kupp for my green bean casserole MVP of week 11. Since it is week 12 and it is a day we get a couple of Thursday games and a long nap generally on the floor for me. Where's your favorite napping place after a healthy Thanksgiving meal, Dad?
Wherever I'm sitting.
Oh, you're a sitting up napping guy.
I'm like when it's ready to drop, it drops.
Okay.
So if I'm standing up, that could happen there too.
Oh, buddy, that's dangerous. You got to make sure you're not around sharp objects.
I try. No one lets me around those.
You only carve the turkey with your mind.
That's right.
AJ, where do you nap on Thanksgiving afternoon?
Yeah, here's another deep dive, Ryan. So I like to nap as I'm going through the serving line while I have the spoon dipped into the gluten-free stuffing. I like to fall asleep with my eyes open.
That's efficiency right there.
I saw it tonight. We had our Thanksgiving tonight, so I saw it tonight.
Oh, so you guys are post-nap well rested.
Oh.
Yeah, 100%. If you've never tried falling asleep standing up with your eyes open, relatives you haven't seen in some time enjoy that.
I'm going to be in a new house with strangers basically all day tomorrow, so we'll figure out how my napping situation goes. It's usually the floor for me though. Jeff, do you find the old lazy boy, or do you just crank out on the couch?
The bed.
Ah, you go full Monty and go all the way to the bedroom.
Try passing out in
is-
the sweet potatoes.
Ooh, yeah, the yams. A yam nap is what I like to call that. The old yam nap.
So that when you get up, there's your treats.
Perfect. You just make the marshmallows right on top, your nice little sticky pillow, though. That's how you get ants, AJ. That's how you get ants. Okay, moving on. I digressed quite a bit. What are we thankful for so far in this NFL season? I'm going to start with AJ.
Chase Claypool.
Mm.
Chase
Tell me why you're so thankful for the Canadian wonder.
Claypool. Yeah. That's Mapletron.
He hates
Notre Dame graduate. He does hate that, but he's embraced it and he's now selling merch on Twitter.
Mm.
Yeah, we
Get 'em all tied.
retweeted it so that we could get that merch, and we never received that merch. We didn't even get a thank you for retweet. Anyway, Chase Claypool
Scam.
benefits both the Steelers, amen, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, gets the Irish a little more exposure in recruiting. He has provided score after reception after rush of entertainment for Steelers fans and excitement for the future. Love me some Chase Claypool.
Were you personally offended? There was a very prominent media outlet that does a lot with the NFL that asked which wide receiver you would like to build your offense around as a rookie. They listed CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson and I don't know if probably Jerry Jeudy. Those were their three. Were you personally offended by that?
I am now.
But
no, I wasn't. Yeah, and now I'm offended.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry they did that to you.
I don't think you are.
A little. We should go after this four-letter network with all we've got. The power of all of our pull.
Yeah, it's very substantial.
Well, is that the same?
Dad, what do you-
Is that this? If I may ask this question, is that the same
Yeah.
network that they asked the top 10 rookies of the year, and Chase Claypool wasn't in there, and yet he holds an NFL record now of having 10 touchdowns in 10 games as a rookie? That
We
four-letter
very well
network?
may be talking about the same four-letter network. Yes. Is it because he's Canadian?
Oh, well
I think
played.
it's because his name is alliteration. I think there's a lot of like academic English snobs at this network who look down
Anti-alliteration bias.
Yeah, I think they look down on literary techniques.
I will not stand for that. We are a pro-alliteration podcast.
And Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Alex Smith.
None of which are alliterated. Yes.
No, it's a bummer. Justin Jefferson. I think he holds promise, not because he's a good football player, but because his first and last name start with the same letter.
I dig that. Dad, what are you thankful for this NFL football season?
First off, the product of my loins took my guy. He may be Notre Dame's #1 fan, AJ, but I did graduate from there, and I think that's a throw a penalty for encroachment.
Hands on the hips, 5 yards.
Thank you. That's the reason why they make you moderator. Now, but I think that the one that I'm most thankful for is TJ Watt. I do believe that TJ probably 2 to 3, at least 2 years in a row, should have been a defensive player, counting this year. He's the smartest guy on that side of the football. His reaction time is incredible. There was a play that you may have seen since I live in that area. I get a chance to see him all the time. He tackled both guys on an option play.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive. And they weren't standing quite close together. And he is just as smart as they come. And his motor, I love his motor. He doesn't take a play off. I certainly love what Bud Dupree has going on in our world, but Bud's motor went off when he started his contract year.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's
The way TJ Watt plays, that's how they teach him to do it up there in Wisconsin, in
I'll tell you
Madison.
what.
My brother lives in Madison, and he's relentless as well. Jeff, what are you thankful for this NFL season?
That my screen door came apart last night while my son was trying to get inside.
Nice, Jeff.
well played.
Did
Screen door
we
now
break
for
Jeff?
tournament.
Did Jeff break himself?
How did Jeff break himself?
Okay, all right.
That was me. That
Okay,
was me.
right, and we're back.
Do you have a football-related Thanksgiving, Jeffrey?
The Raiders are 6-4.
Thank
Good year.
Neptune.
Yes,
Hallelujah.
God of the seas. Raiders known boat people in Las Vegas.
Descendant
That's
from
a
the
good one.
Vikings, a seafaring
Yes.
race.
Yes. Love their boats. Neptune
I-
guides their way.
I didn't read any of that, AJ, in NFL Weekly.
Well, you can only get this sort of content here at Shall We Football.
That's right. You know what I'm thankful for this NFL football season?
What are you thankful for, Ryan?
It's the gift that keeps on giving. Daniel Jones. I'm thankful for Danny Dimes up there in New York playing for the G-Men, those Washington football giants. He keeps giving good moments and he keeps giving bad moments. He is a moment machine, that Danny Dimes. Breaking free for an 80-yard sure thing touchdown, getting tripped over his big old head, going too fast for his body, falling at the 20, losing fumbles willy-nilly. You know what? I'm going to amend that. I'm thankful for the NFC East as a whole. Because we may get our very first 6-10 playoff team, gentlemen. 6-10 in the playoffs. Division.
I have a-
winners.
May I ask you a question, Ryan?
You may.
Are you willing to be able to say which one of those will get the 6 wins?
I think now that Andy Dalton's back for the Cowboys, we're going to see the Dallas Cowboys as NFC East champions.
That's so sad.
And this coming week is going to be a big step in that direction, I do believe.
Is anybody else besides me tired of seeing Jerry Jones smile?
I've been tired of seeing Jerry Jones's face in any emotion for a long time.
He has more teeth than you would think.
He has more teeth than you and I combined.
Maybe that's where the chiclets went that we lost.
That's got to be it. That's got to be
Yeah,
it.
that's got to be it.
I will say, I will defend Jerry Jones. He treats the media right. Even at games his Cowboys are not playing. When I went down there to cover the Big 12 championship game several years ago, the food was something else. We got steaks and ribs, and it was the best media meal I've ever had at Jerry World. I also had the best photographer bib number that I've ever had at Jerry World. That was not Jerry's fault. That was by happenstance, but it's a story for another day.
I love stories.
I'm
love it.
thankful for the NFC East.
And I'm thankful for another day.
Amen. Amen,
Amen.
Dad. I'm thankful for you being here. Am I thankful for our records, though, this week, AJ? Should I be thankful for our records?
I would like to give a congratulations to Jeff for our first weekly No Pants Dance Award. You have the best record this week, Jeff, at 9-5, and you may remove your pants for the remainder of the podcast.
Done.
What was that record again? Did you say 9-5?
9-5.
Ooh, that means the rest of us were putrid.
Yeah, it's now time for the biggest idiot of the week,
Oh boy.
who is
Is he
speaking
here?
to you. He's speaking to you right now.
Oh, AJ.
I missed out on 500 by a game, and I would like to tell you this is the worst record that we've had. It is tied for the worst record that we've had. We haven't stooped down to 5-9 yet, but this is the third instance of a 6-8 record.
Who had the other two 6 and 8s there, AJ?
Colt and you, I believe. That will be amended
believe I
next week
did.
if I'm wrong.
All right. All right. We will add that to our list of inevitable amendments to this week's podcast.
Yeah, Ryan, you and Colt were swimming in a sea of mediocrity. Both of you were 7-7.
You know what? Them's Hall of Fame numbers right there.
That's
In a different sport.
that's a comfortable place for you guys.
Yep, in a different sport. It's the Jeff Fisher of records. I'm really upset Jeff Fisher. I'm gonna take a left turn here quickly. I'm really upset Jeff Fisher retired when he did. So he didn't have the opportunity to lose his final 2 games and end his career at exactly 500. He was 2 losses away, I believe.
It's vindictive.
And it looked
Ryan.
like the Rams were headed that direction. Not vindictive, not at all. No. Having a perfect 500 record does something for my soul. It's a nice round number. Everything lines up. It's symmetrical.
That's what I'm thankful for.
Yeah. I'm thankful for Jeff Fisher and his mustache.
Hmm.
It's your favorite segment of the week time, AJ, where you get to
That's
dole
right.
out punishment. And guess
Yeah.
what? Your dad is going to fill in for Colt. I just made that decision.
Lovely. Dad Colt,
I'm
you
gonna
can
appeal-
go first.
I'm going to appeal that to the Supreme Court with Mr. Trump stuff.
Ooh, objection. Objection.
Upheld, overruled. Dad, why did Colt select the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Washington football team? Not good enough, Dad. Faster.
Oh, that was harsh. I thought this was a friendly show with family involved. No, it's just like the Donnelly household is what it ended up being like. Hey, so anyways, my question to all of you, including Colt, is why was the game played in the first place? Because I don't care who won game. Their audience must have been an audience. They may have a smaller audience than you guys.
It was mostly dogs whose owners left the TV on,
Oh,
so they don't feel by themselves.
Yeah, it's just for sound for the dogs. Yes.
I
Colt
wouldn't even know why
probably.
Well, I don't know Colt very well, but it makes me have less desire to meet him when
He's
even
a delightful young
even
man.
if he's picking that game, though. What's he doing picking that game?
We pick all the games.
Yeah, we had to pick this one.
Oh, okay. Well,
We do chalk it up
Well-
a fair amount, and sometimes they just have me write down a team, or I will take the initiative and write down the Steelers,
I
if they're
think-
playing the Jaguars.
Okay, I think I'm working on my inner Colt right now.
Yes.
Okay, and I think my thought was that they're going to take out a quarterback in Washington who hasn't played a game in 8 years. He's got body parts that shouldn't even be on his body anymore. And
Agreed.
I should be able to beat this guy. But no, what I have to do is go out and break my knee and get an MCL tear, an ACL tear, because I want to show him I could take pain like he could.
It's selfish, really.
I think that's exactly what Colt was thinking. That's
connecting.
exactly what Colt was thinking.
That's not exactly what Colt said anyway. It wasn't in exact words, but was
Verbatim. No, it was verbatim. It was
I
exactly.
don't
right.
think Alex Smith is going to get his first win.
He probably did say that. And I said, you're wrong, sir.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Ryan, you're up next. And
Oh, boy. I've got some egregious ones on there.
No more so than the rest of us, this one wasn't that bad. As the season's gone further, we go out on a limb less than we just grab handfuls of chalk before we make these picks because there's not much parity in this. You picked the Packers over the Colts, which shout out to Jeff. He was the only one to pick the Colts. You have an affinity for the Indianapolis Colts.
I do. I do have an affinity for the Indianapolis Colts. I've spent a lot of time in that building. I've spent more time in that building than Phillip Rivers has. And I thought it was going to show on Sunday, and it did not. It did for the first, quarter and a half.
Yeah, he was playing for his family.
Yes, he has to play for his family that is ever expanding. He's trying to field an entire offense, and he's almost there. He's already got his quarterback with the perfect name, his oldest son, Gunner. And I think he channeled Gunner this week. I really do. That game came down to the wire. Aaron Rodgers played well. Good teams lose football games sometimes. I just picked the wrong good football team. Colts are good. Packers are good. That was a playoff atmosphere, and we're not going to see it again in the playoffs because those teams ain't going to make the Super Bowl, but both teams are going to make the playoffs. So I am not as upset about that one as I am about others. So thank you for choosing that one.
Softball throw in.
Which are you most upset about? Which of your picks do you feel the most vulnerable about?
Name all of my losses, please.
We don't have that much time left, do we?
There are plenty.
Yeah, fair point. Who's next?
It's me. And I picked the Arizona Cardinals because you guys, you're all like, it's like I have no angels and 3 devils on my shoulder, and they're all just like, Kyler Murray, pick Kyler Murray. We love Kyler. And we are very pro Kyler Murray, but
very pro Kyler Murray podcast.
Kyler train.
Yeah, except the 3 of you jumped off of that train and left me by my lonesome.
I gave a good reason why, sir.
We did.
I guess it didn't appeal to me too much.
I tried to tell you.
I tell you, that defense came to play Thursday night.
The Seahawks did, yeah. Held that rushing game to practically nothing.
How do you get 5 points in one period of play?
2 safeties and a miracle.
Oh,
no, it's a safety and a field goal.
I get that, but how many times do you see that in a game?
In a box score,
in a box score, and I have one. There were 2 games last week that did that. 5 points. Who was the other one?
Ooh, great question. And I can't tell you off the top of my head. There aren't that many safeties in the NFL, and I'm pretty sure I saw it and can't remember it. Do educate us.
I will. It was the Cleveland Brownies. They had scored 5 points in the third quarter of their game against the Eagles.
Yeah, they did.
My Baker Mayfield led Browns. I'm not sure if AJ's told you, Dad, that Baker Mayfield and I are best friends. I have pictures to prove it.
Big BFS.
Has he invited you over to his home?
Ryan, are you there right now for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm sitting in Cleveland Stadium right now.
Yeah. He's living where? What
in the stadium.
Row 34, isn't it?
First Energy Field. That's where he's at.
Yeah.
In the bowels of the stadium. We're frying the turkey in the concession stand.
All right, Hefe.
Uh-huh.
Hefe, you chalked it up hard here. All your losses are chalk. So I'm going to pick the one that I think is going to make you the maddest, which is you picked the Patriots, and then they didn't win their football game. What gives?
I swear to God, I picked the Texans.
If you say I swear, does that count as swearing?
No.
I think it's like a half swear. That's a half swear.
No, that was what Jeff did last week when he said FUC and then
That was a
dropped the other-
3/4 swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, it's our favorite number we're working on this week. Swear is how many letters in that word, guys?
That would be 7. Oh, he was going to go with the 2-syllable version.
Oh, I was just talking about the word swear.
Swear is a 5-letter word.
And
Okay,
isn't that our favorite number this week? gentlemen?
No, guys, this is all really stupid. So, Jeff, you picked the Patriots, and you don't like the Patriots. What are you going to tell your family when they learn that you've done this?
Nothing. I don't care.
Okay, moving on then. Ryan?
I think
Yeah.
there's Dr. Phil time in this thing.
I think there should be a Dr. Phil segment, but now it's time to preview the one we've been waiting for. The Thanksgiving week of NFL football, week 12. Let's start right at the top. I know we had a defined order so Colt could give his fantasy football predictions. Are we going to deviate from that order, or are we going to stay in the same with Dad filling in for Colt? How about I give
The latter.
let's do it this way. I've got Colt's picks here. And I'm gonna tell Dad Colt's picks, and he can agree with them or disagree, and then tell us why he agrees or disagrees.
Sounds like a plan.
I'll allow it.
All right, let's do it. First game on the slate on Thanksgiving. Traditionally, the Lions play on Thanksgiving. Traditionally, they actually do all right with Matty Stafford at quarterback. They're playing the Texans. 12:30 in the afternoon. Lions, Texans. I think I'm going to pick the Lions in this one because Matt Stafford has to play better than he did against the Panthers despite having an injured thumb. And the Texans aren't very good despite beating the Patriots. And to kind of hedge that a little bit, the Patriots are trash. So I don't look at that Patriots win for the Texans with a whole lot of great feelings about the football team in Houston. Detroit at home against the Texans. AJ, your thoughts?
So the Texans are 6th in yards per play at 6.1, which is a pretty good number for them.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, they only have 9 turnovers on the season. I don't know
All
what's
year, that's
going
pretty
on.
good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that offense that keeps them like the Browns game. What gives there, man? That does not jive with that productive of an offense that averages that kind of production. I imagine that one of their issues, you would imagine that one of their issues would be third down conversions, but they're 17th, which could explain a little bit of it. Their red zone percentage is not great, but it's 15th. It's pretty average. They're there with the Bills and the Raiders. Both have winning records. They're ahead of the Ravens and the Falcons. So there's no reason that this offense should not keep them in games more than it has. I love Matty Stafford. I will tell you this. The Texans are favored by 3 in this game, which is sort of shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
This one is really, really tough. My goodness.
Yeah.
God, boy.
Kick your Thanksgiving day off right.
Yeah. You know what? The Texans just gave up 365 yards to Cam Newton through the air. I'm going to go Lions as well.
All right, Jeffrey.
You know, I do love my Matty snapback, and he's always been a great comeback player, and he's a heck of a passer. But on the other side, I do really like watching Deshaun Watson play football.
He's exciting.
He is exciting, and he's a smart football player. And you know, I'm going to go with the favor. I'm actually going to go against you guys and say I'm going to go with the Texans.
All right. Dad, Colt picked the Texans. Do you think he's right or wrong? And what do you think about the wrongness or the rightness?
I think that our boy Colt really lit it up on that one. I'm going to join Jeff saying that the Texans are going to win. You have to watch out. Sometimes Dallas, or excuse me, not Dallas, but Detroit over the years have really come out to play football on Thanksgiving. It seems to be their Super Bowl. But, you know, I think Petraka, I'm not saying his name right, but their head coach is lost the team. I think he's just absolutely lost the team.
Patricia?
Matt Patricia with his Ticonderoga #2 stuck behind his ear.
Do you notice that we have 2 defensive coordinators from New England coaching this game?
We do.
Yeah.
However, Romeo Crennel.
Yeah. But my feeling is Deshaun is going to be just doing his thing, and I just don't think Detroit's got the answers. I mean, they've unfortunately gutted Deshaun's wide receiving core. You know, God love Will Fuller, but from ND, but I think he's still got enough weapons to get it done. And I'm like Jeff. He's just a guy I love to watch to play football. So I'm going with the Texans.
All right, I like both of those picks. I love the split decision on this one too. To my favorite division in professional football, the NFC East. Cowboys' traditional Thanksgiving game against the Washington football team. Is this for #1 in that division? Whoever goes to 4-7 instead of 3-8 takes #1 in that division. I love every second of this travesty that we're watching. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I really think that with Andy Dalton back, they still have CeeDee Lamb. They still have Michael Gallup. They still have Amari Cooper. They still have Ezekiel Elliott. If Andy Dalton can distribute the football to those guys, CeeDee Lamb made an unbelievable catch in the end zone for a touchdown this past week. Rookie from Oklahoma, he's going to keep doing some things. I think the Cowboys win, but I think it's going to be close. Dallas only favored by 3. I think it's going to be right around there. Cowboys. AJ?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys as well. Alex Smith didn't have to do much last week. Still threw a pick. He was over 50% completion. His QBR was terrible. Took 2 sacks. Antonio Gibson played well. And that's all given that he was against a really, really bad Cincinnati Bengals team. The Cowboys, on the other hand, were truly led by Andy Dalton. I think he gave that offense a spark, the spark they needed. He threw 3 touchdowns. Zeke Elliott was run into the turf. Yeah. They ran him hard, and I hope that continues because that's conducive for that team getting W's. And it says something to me that they're favored in this game, so I'm going the Cowboys.
All right, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm going Cowboys as well.
Perfect. Dad? Colt also picked the Cowboys. You're going to go chalk, or you're going to throws a curveball with Alex Smith and the football team of Washington, D.C.
I was born to throw curveballs. Actually, I didn't throw a good curveball at all. But anyways, I do believe there's a lot of reasons why Dallas should win this game. They've got all the weapons. You plug in a decent quarterback and off you go. The one thing y'all didn't talk about is Dallas's defense has given up 4.2 billion points this year. And
I think that's an accurate stat.
Yeah, I don't think they have stopped anybody. Now, I think the Washington football team is terrible. But I just have a feeling, and I will go against my son, who, will get wisdom as he gets older. But Smith coming in and even putting a pair of cleats on and playing was incredible. But I also think some rust needed to be knocked off there. But I think the other side of football was going to be where it happens. I've been reading some great things about Chase Young and how well he's been playing, and he hasn't run up the stats, but they're double and triple teaming and allows the other guys to get a lot of business done. So, it's definitely going to be an upset. And I hold my nose pulling for Dan Snyder and anything. But, at this point in time, I'm going to go Washington.
I like that pick, and Chase Young was out when the football team played the Browns, and Montez Sweat still looked like the best player on the field for either team. I love that defensive front for Washington, so I don't mind that pick one bit. Raiders Falcons getting into the Sunday games. Is this one going to be chalk? Should we talk too much about this one? I've got the Raiders. They're just better. Make fewer mistakes. AJ.
Yeah, for the reasons I go over every week, they came so close to beating the Chiefs, a game that Jeff and I got a chance to watch together. And for the same reasons I go over every week, just how efficient they are. Josh Jacobs looked fantastic. So, absolutely.
Yep. Jeff, do we have to ask?
No.
Dad, what do you think? Colts also got the Raiders.
I think that's no question. The Raiders are coming on strong. The only hitch in their giddy up is a little inconsistency, but you know what? You're going to Atlanta. Yeah, it's across the country trip, but I don't think Atlanta brings enough to the table.
Dad, I go over this every week, but the Raiders statistically on defense, not great. Offense, they do a pretty good job, but if you look here, 51.6% on third down, which is the best in the league. And the red zone percentage, while they don't score touchdowns at a very high rate, one thing they do, however, is score at a high rate. 53% of their drives end in points, not necessarily touchdowns, but when they make it down the field, they score at a 53% clip. And the other thing being average time of drive, second in the league at 3:11.
Yeah, you guys always let AJ talk.
They just get it done.
You guys always let AJ ramble on like this.
Yeah, basically, he's the one that actually puts stats behind his picks. We're all just going on gut feelings, other than him.
Yeah,
and I was 6-8 this week, so.
Yeah, there's that.
Moving on, we got the Chargers and the Bills. Chargers 3-7, Bills 7-3. Records really don't matter in this one. I'm going with the way the Bills have been playing football in the last couple of weeks. They haven't been as impressive as they were to start the season, and the Chargers offense just looks like it can't be stopped, even in the games that they have lost, which are plentiful, many, and not very far between. Their offense has scored points. They cannot find a way to stop anyone in the second half. Case in point, the Jets put up a bundle of points in the second half and made that game relatively competitive. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and pick Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Justin Herbert now fast-tracked to Offensive Rookie of the Year with that unfortunate injury to Joe Burrow. AJ, am I an idiot?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with with picking the Chargers.
Good. Thank
So,
you for that.
yeah, no problem. Happy Thanksgiving. So the Chargers defense is actually pretty close to the Buffalo Bills. I really think the Buffalo Bills are living off of reputation on defense. Yards per play, they're almost the same. When you go over to pressure rate, the Bills are actually at 19.8%, way lower than the Chargers at 23.2%. The Chargers are 15th, about halfway down there. The Bills are 10th from the bottom in pressure rate. So I really think that the Bills are living off of mostly reputation. That said, the Chargers have just found ways to lose games, and I think Josh Allen is right now better than Justin Herbert, so I'm going Bills.
I can't hate the pick. As well as Justin Herbert has found ways to lose games, Josh Allen has seemed to find ways to win them. Jeff, your thoughts on this game? Great
Interesting.
analysis.
I'm going the Bills. That's all.
All right, Dad. That's all I got. All right. Dad, Colt also picked the Bills. I'm the only one with the Chargers this week. Do you think I'm right, or do you think everyone else is right?
Well, it's a closer. I think it's gonna be a closer game than most going to think, because even though LA is coming from the east, from the west to the east, they've got Herbert has been slinging the ball all over the park, and more times than not been very successful. But I still think the Bills bring too much to the table, and I think that this is almost the month of December. It's nasty up there in Buffalo to play football at that time of year, and I just try to look up Buffalo's weather report. My son is taking all the bandwidth in the house, so I'm still stuck on no info from Buffalo. However, I think it's going to be the low to mid.
Let me check that for you real quick. If you can keep on talking for just a second, I can find it. It does not look great.
No, and so I think that's going to be Herbert's problem, the fact that, he's a Oregon product. He's never really played in bad weather. Welcome to Buffalo Chargers. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to take that game.
Yeah, I'm really second guessing myself now that I see what the weather is potentially going to be. We could get some Erie effect snow, and that's going to be amazing. Snow football for the first time in 2020. Next game is a stinker. But the Giants could make some headway in the NFC East, my favorite division, with a win over the Bengals. Giants, Bengals, no Joey Burrow. Apparently that Bengals locker room is an absolute mess. Nobody wants to be there. Atmosphere is worse than college. Running a high school operation there in Cincinnati. That's why they're perennial losers. Year after year after year after year. Giants in this football game in Cincinnati. No Burrow, no problem for the Giants. They're going to win handily. That line is set at 6. Giants giving 6 points. I think they cover and they win. AJ?
Yeah, I don't think this one bears much analysis. Joe Burrow was the only redeeming quality of that football team, and his distribution to those stars on the outside, and Joe Mixon and crew. The defense is not good. They have a couple players on Pro Football Focus who are actually rated pretty well, but that does not and has not translated to efficiency or turnovers in a meaningful way. So yeah, this is the Giants for sure, and I can't believe the spread was what it was.
Yeah, 6 is large for the NFL. Jeff, your thoughts?
Here's my thoughts. Just Giants.
Giants it is. Dad, Colt picked the Giants as well. You're gonna ride the Giant train on this one, I'm assuming.
I am. I really can't say it any better than Jeff did.
We rarely can.
Succinct and to the point. I like it. Big game in the AFC South. this week. Titans and Colts, both teams 7-3. Both teams coming off overtime victories against the Ravens and the Packers, respectively. The Titans rode Derrick Henry in the second half. The Colts rode the strength of that defense and Phillip Rivers, and Rodrigo Blankenship and his rec specs got that prescription dialed in and knocked in a field goal in overtime for the Colts to beat the Packers. This is kind of a toss-up in my book, but it is at Lucas Oil. I'm going to pick the Colts. Whether or not a factor, it's inside. I just think the Colts are a more complete team on defense, especially. That Titans defense can and has been exposed throughout the course of the season. That Colts defense is pretty well held strong. I don't think the Titans are going to be able to figure that out this time around. I got Indianapolis. AJ?
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Indianapolis as well because of their balance on both sides of the ball. The Titans do give me pause. Ryan Tannehill is super efficient, and he can get it out there. Efficiency often lends itself to not taking chances and to playing more conservatively. But that's okay if the Titans do it because that conservative play, maybe short outs, slants, bubble screens, those all get to the hands of guys like A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, Derrick Henry, all of which can make big plays. That said, the Colts are about as good as it gets on defense. So I'm going to go with Indy as well.
All right, Jeff?
Pretty much was just said what I was going to say. No, I'm just kidding. But Colts is what I'm going with.
All right. Colts. Colt picked his namesake as well. Dad, do you think the Titans can pull it off, or do you think the Colts are going to win?
You know, both these teams are difficult to put your arms around because they can show up and do just about anything, good and bad.
Yep, agreed.
You know, and so I struggle with which one's going to show up. I mean, you got Tannehill was clearly the comeback player of the year last year, and he's not having quite the year he was having. You know, Henry's taken over more of the load, done pretty well with it. I don't think I can name anyone on the Tennessee defense, and yet they made the playoffs last year, made a nice run, and on the other side with Indianapolis, they should be gray bearded quarterback that they have right now from 17 years in San Diego. He had a hard time picking out his own receivers the last few years. And so he's got to stay away from the interceptions. If he stays away from the interceptions, I think that Indy is going to win that game. So I'd stay with Indy.
All right. I like the analysis. I like the pick. Vikings and Panthers. As well as the Vikings have played, and as low as most people are on the Panthers, both teams only have 4 wins on the season. Do we know if Teddy Bridgewater is back before I make my pick? Does anybody know the answer to that?
Well, let's take a look at the injury report here.
I'm glad you asked that question because I needed the answer to it as well.
So he's not on the injury report.
Which means he should be available.
One would think.
Okay. So in that case, I actually like what PJ Walker brought to the table with his legs, more so than I like what Teddy Two Gloves can do with his arm. Teddy is obviously an upgrade as far as accuracy and experience by a long shot. I'm going to pick the Vikings because I don't think the Panthers can stop Dalvin Cook. He had kind of not necessarily a super down game in the last game, but he is second in the league in rushing, and he's missed 2 football games this season. He's still over 1,000 yards rushing. He and good old Derrick Henry heading up that list right now. So I'm going to pick the Vikings just because I don't think the Panthers defense has an answer for Dalvin Cook. AJ?
So no, I don't think they have an answer for Dalvin Cook. Frankly, they haven't had much of an answer for anyone on the ground thus far. They are 25th in yards per carry, giving up about 4.6 yards a tote. And then getting into the end zone, they allow the sixth most at 14. Strength on weakness. Let's go Vikings.
All right, Jeff?
Cooking up another steak. Vikings.
Cooking it up. You're trying to fill the void that Colt leaves with the culinary references.
I tried.
Yeah, you did a good job there, Dad. Colt picked the Vikings. You're gonna go with us on the Vikings. You're gonna pull for the Panthers down here in North Carolina.
Well, because the game is up in Minnesota, I just don't see it happening. Again, I think what was said before, with no one really has a good answer for Cook. I think that, I'm concerned that Thielen might not be ready with challenge with the COVID. So that if I knew the answer to that, I would feel a little more comfortable with it. But, I still think Cousins is another guy that I think is going to start showing up a little bit more. And so I think he's going to be able to carry the day, which is going to help them get the W.
Yep, and they still got Justin Jefferson there. Vikings all around. All right, a game that you would think seems one-sided when you just hear these two teams' names, but the line is only 2.5 when the Cardinals come out east to play the New England Patriots.
Really?
Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. The line, Arizona, giving 2.5 in Foxborough. Surprised to anybody else?
Yes.
That's a big surprise to me. I'm going to pick Kyler and the Cardinals. The Patriots are a bad football team. I mean, there's no way around it. They're just not good this year. The Cardinals are going to cover that spread handily, I believe, and beat New England in Foxborough. AJ?
Yeah, I'm going to side with the fighting Kyler Murray's here. My only concern is that Patriots, first of all, it's in Foxborough. The Patriots are built on the ground, and the Cardinals are not great against the run. I know they started out well, but they are 23rd at this point, a big regression yards per carry against the run. They started out much higher than that. That said, they've only given up 6 touchdowns. It depends on how that defense, to me, reacts to the cold weather and how
It's supposed to be 52 and sunny.
So, that certainly lends itself to the Arizona Cardinals even further. It's definitely the Cardinals. I think Cam Newton, if he plays well, if he hits 3 bills again, might be able to give them a run for their money, but the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Yep, slim to none. Jeff, your thoughts?
If I ever pick the Patriots again, since I supposedly picked the Patriots, which I I might as well just, commit suicide, because I will never, if I actually did, which I still say I don't, pick them ever. Will never pick them again. I'm going to stay on the Kyler Murray train, even though I did jump off like last week. I am going to stay on the train and continue to ride the Kyler Murray.
Yep, I also took a brief pit stop off that Kyler Murray train. I just had to stop and get a sandwich at the station. Dad, what do you think? Cardinals, Patriots?
Well, it's all things pulled together, I think it's got to be the Cardinals.
Okay.
One of the challenges you have is Cardinals are going to score their points. And if you go back to take a look at the offense that New England has, it's not very potent. So they can get behind early and quick. If you look at the injury report, everybody on both teams is questionable, apparently. So that's a little bit challenging. But, most are supposed to be playing. So I do believe Kyler Murray is just going to be too much with that, with Hopkins being as good a receiver as in football. And how the hell the Texans let that happen, I have no idea. But that just cost a couple people their jobs. So they got what they needed. So anyways, I think the Cardinals are going to take this pretty handily.
Old Bill O'Brien is just rolling over in his wherever he's at, probably at some very fancy resort. I would guess all inclusive, somewhere warm next to a beach, raking in some of that severance pay. I agree.
Mhm.
Cardinals chalk on that one. Dolphins, Jets, don't need to speak too much about this, I don't think. I got Dolphins pretty easily. Jets are one of two teams with double digits in their win-loss column, and they're in the wrong one. AJ?
Yeah, I like the Dolphins here. I'm actually pretty hesitant about the whole thing because the Jets, we've talked about it. We think the Jets are going to get theirs, and the Dolphins are a little beat up right now. I think the Broncos exposed that a little bit. I think the momentum that Ryan Fitzpatrick had is gone. I think that was yanked out from underneath him. So I think this one might actually be close, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets ended up taking this one. But I think the likelihood of that, I think the Jets are unlikely to win a game, except when you look at the fact that most teams win at least one game. Actually, what does it happen twice? It's hard to lose them all. That's the only reason. And that has nothing to do with any substantial football analysis. Although, we're not totally against removing all football analysis when making a pick, but I'm going to go Dolphins anyway and try to, try not to be the biggest idiot of the week.
All right, Jeff, do the Jets get one, or is it Dolphins all the way?
I'm picking Jets.
You're picking the Jets. Second time this year, Jeff has picked the Jets.
I know I'll pay for my sins if I'm wrong, but I don't care. I'm picking the Jets.
Buddy, when you're right when you pick the Jets, it's going to be a happy day. I'll celebrate right there with you.
Good about that team.
Their black uniforms are awesome. Dad, Colt picked the Dolphins. You with us, or you with Jeff?
Definitely with the folks for the Dolphins. I just did a quick look, and the Jets in 10 games have scored 149 points. So that's their average. When they go against a good defense, the Miami Dolphins have only given up 208 points. So that's one of the better defenses just on points allowed. So, I hope Jets get on the board. And but no, Miami's got it.
Yeah, a lot of those 149 points have been garbage time points as well that you can't really count. How many legitimate points the Jets have scored that when teams are actually trying to stop them? I think that number is probably closer to about 65 or 70.
Well, if we take last week's, sort of hiccup of 28 points out of that total.
Yeah, that's a sizable chunk.
Yeah.
It's a sizable chunk.
Yep.
They scored some points against the Patriots. That's right.
Yeah.
And that wasn't garbage time either. All right. Baker Mayfield on Thanksgiving has to go away from home on Thanksgiving weekend. He they're going to be in Jacksonville, unfortunately, with people swimming around in the pool in the stadium. Browns and Jaguars, Browns 7-3, Jaguars 1-9. Jets and Jaguars racing for that first overall pick in the NFL draft in 2021. I've got Cleveland because that running game cannot be stopped. Full stop on that. AJ.
Yeah. Let's get chalky.
Browns it is. Jeff?
I'm pretty sure everybody's going Browns, right?
Yep. Colt also picked the Browns. Dad, do you think he's right?
Amen.
Steelers Ravens game that should have been played on Thanksgiving Day got pushed back to Sunday. Ravens 6-4. Steelers undefeated 10-0. Always one of the best games of the season. Breezy in Pittsburgh, as always, at the intersection of the rivers. I do believe the Steelers are going to win this football game, and I don't think it's going to come down to a Justin Tucker missed field goal because he just doesn't do that. I think the Steelers are going to win this game because I don't like what the Ravens offense has been doing. I don't like the way that they rely so heavily on the run. They don't have anybody that can really stretch the field. And on a couple of plays when Marquise Brown got loose, deep, Lamar Jackson was late with the football, and the Titans caught up to it, and they were incomplete. Mark Andrews has looked okay, but he's dropped a lot of passes this season at the tight end position. Willie Snead's pretty good. J.K. Dobbins has looked pretty good when he's gotten the touches that he wanted. But that Steelers defense is so good and so opportunistic. And the Steelers offense, they can score some points. They've played down to a lot of people this season, but they're going to play up for this game because they always play up for the Ravens. Steelers win this ball game. AJ.
Yeah, I'm going to go Steelers too. And I'm starting to get on the perfect season train. Yeah, I think I just jinxed it, but I'm gonna go Steelers anyway.
That's why I'm
And
picking
I take no, Jeff, you wait your turn. I think that's why the Steelers might lose this game. Is because I just picked them. That said, I think that on paper it's pretty simple that the Steelers defense is better than the Ravens offense. Yeah, I'm just gonna go Steelers.
Yeah, Jeff.
I like the defense of the Steelers, so I'm gonna go Steelers.
All right. Dad, your son said the P word. Have you not taught him about superstition yet?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm not just sure I've been able to teach him much of anything. But anyways, I'm not sure what my buddy Colt did, but
He picked the Steelers.
Yeah.
The Steelers.
I got to tell you, I can't find a better offensive team than the Steelers, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know the KC is going to probably have a complaint about that. But our defense also is just playing so good. And even though we lost one of the best linebackers in the league with Bush, Spillane's coming in and done a really solid job. So it's home cooking. Doesn't mean a lot in this crazy world, but Steelers going to take it.
All right, chalk on the Steelers in this one. Saints looking like the team that we all thought they would look like at the beginning of the year, sitting at 8-2, going to Denver to play Drew Lock's stupid face. I think the Saints are just a better football team. This is where I wish I had a soundboard. I could just hit that stupid face over and over and over. The Saints are a better football team. Just it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. It could be Jameis Winston playing quarterback. They're just a better football team. Taysom Hill looked pretty good. If he can stay healthy, that was his problem at BYU. Is he was never healthy for a full season, and he looked fine against the Atlanta Falcons, sitting at the tight end position, playing quarterback. So I'm picking the Saints, and I think it's a pretty easy one. AJ.
I think it is pretty easy. And the thing I don't want to go unsaid is that we saw Lamar Jackson last year when teams did not have tape of what he can do in the NFL, not just college, and, MVP. I think Taysom Hill, the fact that there isn't that much, there's no substantial tape about what he's done in the pros outside of being a gadget player.
At the quarterback position, yeah.
Yep. I think we might see Taysom Hill put up some incredible numbers over the next few weeks, just because no one knows what to expect, and they're not going to be able to react quick enough when he does finally show them some of what he can do.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff?
Taysom Hill is a special player, and I do like the Saints to win that game.
Nobody really, to AJ's point, he can do anything. Sean Payton is like a kid in a candy store with Taysom Hill playing quarterback right now. He can do a lot of stuff. Dad, Colt also picked the Saints. Are you gonna ride with the pack in this one?
Absolutely. I think this Jason Hill, and I'm almost going to probably stumble over your words, but I think Jason Hill is the new fun player of the league. And, he was pretty darn accurate that last go around. And I think it took, for Peyton, to pick him to play versus Winston, a couple things came to mind. One is that's a pretty gutsy call. And number two is I'm not sure Jameson is impressed, his second team, he's capable of being an NFL quarterback on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Saints all the way on that one. This is going to be a fun team to watch coming down the stretch with or without Drew Brees. Next game out to the NFC West, maybe the best division in football. San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Rams coming off that big Monday night win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Rams are starting to figure out this offense and how to play consistent football. Jared Goff looked spectacular. He's thrown 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the year. 2 of those came on Monday. But I think the Rams are a better team. The 49ers have been perpetually beat up this season. And they, like I said, beginning of the year, they have that Super Bowl loser, not going to make the playoffs sort of situation going on. And I think this week's game is going to contribute to them not making the playoffs. Again, I've got Rams. The line is Rams giving 6.5. And I think the Rams win by a touchdown and cover. AJ.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Let's go Rams.
Yep, Jeff.
Agreed.
Dad, Colt also picked the Rams. What do you think?
Well, first off, I wish my son would never call himself stupid in public like that. But I will take I'll take the Rams as well.
All right, we're going to keep on moving in this. Chiefs, Buccaneers, Bucks coming off. I don't know. Are they allergic to primetime football? It seems to be that way. They play well in 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock slots. You put them in at the nighttime. Maybe it's past Tom Brady's bedtime at that point. And he just does not play well in primetime. This game is a 4 o'clock game on CBS on Sunday, but I've still got the Chiefs, best team in football. Despite the Steelers having a slightly better record, I think the Chiefs are a more complete team. I'm going to go Kansas City. They are giving 3.5 in this one. Probably going to cover. I think they're going to win handily. AJ?
It's strength on strength with the offense for the Chiefs and the defense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are good at everything. On defense, the Buccaneers are. The only thing that has held them back slightly is some injuries. I'm not sure what happened in their last game. The Rams just came to play. You know what? I think it's going to be the Chiefs simply because Pat Mahomes is made of wizard magic.
Yes. Yes, he is. Jeff, your thoughts?
I hate to even say that I'm going to go with this team, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
It was either the Chiefs or Tom Brady. You were rocking a hard place there, bud.
It's a lose-lose.
It is.
Dad, Colt picked the Chiefs. What do you got?
No question. You got to find somebody who can stop Mahomes, and until you do, you got to go with him.
I believe we said last week that our MVP award should be called the Patrick Mahomes Award until further notice, because that dude is unbelievable. Chiefs all around on that one. Bears, Packers, and maybe a stinker for a Sunday night game, but it is the division. It is the North. We are the North. The Bears, and maybe the hardest offense to watch in all of the NFL. 500 because of a great defense going into Lambeau Field. I've got the Packers and Aaron Rodgers because the Bears cannot score points. They can't play games in the 20s. Aaron Rodgers can't play games below 20. And I don't see a way the Bears win this football game. AJ?
Yeah, I think that one's pretty simple. These last two games are going to be real chalky.
Yeah. Jeff?
Uh-huh.
Sounds good. Dad, Packers for Colt as well. Do you agree with both of us?
Yeah, it's Pack is going to take it.
Yep. Sticking chalk on that one too. We're probably all going to go chalk on this one too. Battle of the Birds, Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks for me. AJ.
Yeah, this is some terrible primetime stuff we're going to be dealt this weekend.
I'm going to be taking Sunday night and Monday off, I do believe. Jeff?
Chickens.
Yep. Dad?
The Eagles are lost. Don't think they're going to be found. So yeah, it's Seahawks, and who's playing any better ball than Wilson?
Yep. Except for maybe Patrick Mahomes. That's about it.
Yeah.
What happened to Carson Wentz? Colt is a huge Carson Wentz apologist, and I am just flat out not.
I don't know. Quite honestly,
From the mouth of
Go ahead, Dad.
babes.
I'm a big fan of his as well, but I don't get it. There's a huge disconnect, and this is how many years away from winning the Super Bowl. And Wentz started the year there. Well, he didn't win it, but the Colts, he started the dance anyway. Not the Eagles, but the Eagles started the dance. But anyways, I don't know what happened to the lad. I don't know. They don't have. The wide receiver core has gotten worse. So that's a bit of a problem. He's got great tight ends, so a very good running back. So he should be able to produce more than he has.
He likes turnovers more than touchdowns, apparently, up there in Philadelphia.
He's confused. It starts with a T.
It's the alliteration thing again.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's why that network doesn't appreciate it, is because Carson Wentz gets confused. All right, gentlemen, anything left to add for this week? We have reached the end of our slate of games.
Happy Thanksgiving, folks, fellas.
To all. Yes.
Amen.
Thanks for listening to the Shall We Football podcast, because when the question is, shall we football? Gentlemen, what's that answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Big thank you to our guest, Dad, family Donnelly, father, the patriarch, filling in very nicely for Colt. We hope to have you back at some point very soon. Don't forget, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Like and subscribe to us on the Shall We Football podcast YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your girlfriends, tell an old lady at the supermarket. On Twitter at SWF_podcast is where you can find us. Have a great Thanksgiving and good night. We'll see you next week.